you doing?
Good, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good. Officer Flores running.
Yes.
Okay. My name's Torrey Reese. I've got a complaint.
What's your name?
Torrey.
Corey.
Last name is Reese. Ries. Officer Cox, how are you doing?
What's going on, sir?
A little bit frustrated. Your police department has some transparency issues, and one of your people lied and made a criminal complaint against me. Your two officers came out, made threats to arrest me, wouldn't take my open records request.
Do you have an ID, sir?
Okay, I'm not going to show you an ID right now. I don't have one on me. I'm giving you that information. That's all that you need.
Sure. What's your date of birth?
Okay, it's 1 July 69.
The date?
1 July 69.
You don't have any ID? Nothing at all on you?
Nothing that I'm going to show you.
Nothing. Say again?
Nothing that I'm going to show you.
Just what you want to identify yourself.
The fact is that I'm giving you what's needed for the report, Officer Flores. Okay.
I don't know if that's who you are.
That's not essential.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not trying to be argumentative with you. When this is over, I will actually, if you guys handle this professionally, I will actually show you my Texas driver's license. But I won't do it right now because I'm a rights activist and because your other officers told me they would arrest me if I didn't when I didn't commit a crime. That's a problem, and that's why I'm telling you I won't. And you're like, this doesn't make sense. How do I know it's you? But I'm telling you, after we conduct this, I will show you my driver's license. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Okay. So I go up to the Saisd. Oh, by the way, I'm not armed right now. If you want to pat me down, the reason I say that is because a lot of your officers, if you've read your fusion reports, they know I do concealed carry at times. I'm not armed today. Just letting you know that. I don't know what you know about me or what I do.
Right.
But I'm not armed today, nothing in my backpack, nothing on my person. Okay? I started to reach in my back pocket for my phone, and I was like, crap, they may read the fusion reports and be concerned that I'm armed. I'm not armed. I knew I was going to school. No way I'm carrying a firearm anywhere around school, administrative or anything else. So I go up to your school property. I've had an issue with trying to get information from an incident all the way back in September of last year. Detective Huron, you know him, Internal Affairs, told me back in November, the chief is going to update you on this. He's going to call you in a very short time. I said, okay, what do you consider reasonable? He said, I can't tell you that. That's up to the chief. November, December, January, February, March, April. Not in May. I didn't call the chief's office in May. I didn't leave another voicemail from Ms. Saisd in May. I said, I'm tired of this. They're not going to respond. I've given them 9 months. They don't care. In June, at the beginning of this month, I went up there in person. Did the same thing. I said, I need to do an open records request because you guys refused to respond. Instead, Ms. Saisd says, oh, you don't need to do that. I'll have the chief call you back. I say, can I set up an appointment, please? Will you please set up a face-to-face appointment? I don't like this over the phone. You guys have had 9 months. You never call back. She says, yes, I will call you back with an appointment. I leave. I'm down at another location. I'm a rights activist. That's why I'd say sometimes your officers know who I am. Sometimes you don't. Okay? I'm at another location with another police department speaking to another thing. Your detective calls me, and I'm like, who's this? And he's like, it's detective. And I recognize, okay. And he's like, what's going on? I'm like, you told me in November that the chief would call me. He hasn't. I've been trying that for months. And now you're calling me again. Why are you calling me? Why not the chief? And he's like, I told you only the chief's the only one who's going to release any information to you. And I said, okay. Again, why are you calling me? I don't know. I'll get with the chief. I'm like, I don't understand why you're calling. I go down today. Same thing. Only today I say, no, I am going to make the open records request for the information that your department has refused to give me for 9 months. It's an officer's name. He refused to identify himself. I have his badge number according to his sergeant, but he wouldn't give me his name. That's ridiculous. I mean, come on, guys. There's absolutely no reason at all any of your officers should ever tell someone else they belong to another department. This officer blinded me with his lights in the middle of the night and told me he was with San Antonio Police Department. And I could see the side of his car. I couldn't see his face. I couldn't see his name. I couldn't see his badge number. I asked him to identify. He refused. I said, he's telling me he's SAPD. He not only does it, he repeats it 3 times. I'm like, you're full of shit. I'm sorry. That's the way I am. You probably got that briefing from the 2 officers I talked to up there. They're like, man, this guy's verbally abusing the hell out of us. Yeah, because they threatened to arrest me for trying to turn in paperwork. Now, my problem, the criminal complaint, the reason you guys are out here is that the lady inside the office who called and lied to that officer stated she told me to leave the property. And she did, but then she told me, no, come back here and fill this out and stay here and fill it out. And I'm like, have it on the audio recording. That's what I was reaching in my pocket for. Her telling me, I said, okay, you're telling me to fill this out here? I'll go out here. Then she says, no, wait, fill it out in here. And I very specifically clarified, why do you think I did that? Because I've been burned by this type of things. I'm careful. I'm a rights activist. I know all the dirty little tricks. She just tried to pull one. She tried to have me arrested for it. But guess what? I ain't going for that crap. She needs to have a criminal charge placed on her for filing a false police report. What she did was try to limit my ability to gather this information. It's a civil violation. That's totally uncalled for. On top of that, after she did that, I filled out the information. She told me to sit there and wait. And she did. She came up one time. She's like, can you wait outside? And I said, I'd rather finish this here, turn it into you, get you to sign it and stamp it and go. And she's like, well, I have to make some calls. And I said, there's no problem if you want to make a call. Don't put it on speaker and there's no privacy issues. She agreed to that. That is not telling someone to leave. She's like, okay. If she had said, no, you have to leave, I'd have filled out the form out in the lobby. And then I would have given it to another lady to have them time stamp it and do it. But she said she's the one who's going to do it. I finished the report. I tell her, ma'am, will you please, this is what you need. You need to sign here. You need to put the date. I already put the date. I'm sorry. I said, you need to sign here and put the time on it. Make a copy, give it to me, and I'm out of here because I'm not waiting around for you guys to tell me again and again, oh, wait, someone's going to call you. Someone will call you within 10 minutes. I mean, they've done that to me since December of last year. I'm not doing that anymore. So that's where I'm at right now. Like I said, I'm frustrated with that.
Were you able to file your open record?
No, I went out when she told me she would not do it unless she said, I can't sign that, which is ludicrous, until the chief gives me permission to do it. How does she need the chief's permission to sign accepting that she's taking an open records request? She's not admitting guilt. She's doing what anyone else in a public role should know she's supposed to do. She's simply stating, we received this request and giving me my copy back. She says, I'm not signing anything without the chief's permission. I said, okay, may I have my paper back? I'm going to go out and have one of these ladies do it. Any public employee can take an open records request. Your officers can take that open records request. You can take the open records request. And it's on your department to send it to the person who's responsible. It's not up to me to find the person who gives the information. I have to give it to the department or the agency. So your officers show up as I'm at the front desk and I'm asking the other lady, I said, she won't sign this, will you sign it? She comes out, and I have this on audio too, and she says, do not sign that, do not sign that. The chief doesn't want you to sign that. Why won't the chief accept an open records request? You see how that looks to me? If you don't want to fill it out, let me tell you, this is Texas. There are 106 different exemptions for open records requests, and the police use them all the time for body cams. I'm telling you, I know most of them by heart. I know what the exact limitations are, and they're there for good reasons. So if they don't feel like they need to release that, there are all those reasons. But there's no reason for them not to release an officer's name that's involved in an incident. Anyway, she tells them, do not give him that. Do not give him that. The officers walk in. I'm obviously upset. This lady's yelling. I'm not yelling. I said, you just need to, and I say, you heard her. She's telling you to refuse to take an open records request. That's a crime. It's against Texas law. It's the Texas Public Information Act. She should know that. You may not know it. You guys can't know every law. I'm not expecting you to, but it is a law. She cannot do that. And I'm like, okay. And the officers say, hey, can we go outside? I say, okay. Now your officers, I get it. They're like, oh, it's one of these guys. We're just going to, abuse them and get rid of them. You give us our ID right now. Kind of like what you're like, let me see your physical ID. And I say, hold on. No. I don't need to show you any ID. I've already signed in twice, not once. Once in the front lobby, Second time inside the police lobby, my fingerprints are everywhere. I have an open records request with not only my name, but guess what else you have to put on open records request? Your contact information. If I'm trying to hide my identity, am I coming down here to do that? No. In addition to that, I know for a fact that at least 10 of your officers have a Fusion Center file with all my information on it anyway, because I've talked to them on the streets. You guys may not know me. I'm not disputing that, but commonly amongst officers, they call me the homeless hippie. That's how they address me. And you know, some of them are like, oh, he may get offended, but I joke with them. I say, you call me the homeless hippie all you want. You can call me whatever else. So there's other names that other officers call me. I don't care. I don't take offense to it. I'm like, hey, I wear this on top of my head for a reason when I'm out cop watching or whatever else. It's very clear. It identifies me. They're like, that's him for sure. Why? I'm not trying to hide from you guys. And I also know that if you see me and you know who I am, if you had suspicion, hey, what is that guy? Oh, that's that auditor. That's what he's doing. Good officers, they're going to go, I don't want to talk to that guy. No matter what I do, it's probably not going to come out good. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we all know. I mean, you have a sense of humor about that. So anyway, that's where I'm getting at. I'm going to end my live stream right now. I'm comfortable with where we're at. I don't feel like you're going to arrest me or throw me under the bus. Before I end my live stream, what I'd like to do, I'm going to reach in my front pocket. Okay? This is the open records request I attempted to turn in. Okay? All your officer had to do was take it. Okay? I'm actually asking you to take that, Officer Flores, and turn it in. Yes, sir. You can look at it. It doesn't matter. It has my name on it. It has my contact information. Again, I'm not trying to hide from anyone. Okay? And I do apologize. What's your badge number again?
1115.
1115. Okay. So, now, as I told you, I will show you my driver's license. It's inside that bag there as well, because I told you I would do that. I don't have to, but this is my point. When your officers came out and told me that they would arrest me unless I showed them a physical ID, and they ought to know, this guy's a rights activist. I know the law better than these two officers, obviously. And I tell them, am I being detained? No. You're not even detaining me, but you're telling me you'll arrest me if I don't give you an ID. Come on. That right there is a civil rights violation. It is. You cannot imply someone has to give you their ID under threat of arrest, because as soon as you do, you have violated their rights. You have mandated that they give you their ID when they have no Fourth Amendment obligation to do that. That both of those officers did that. And I'm like, I don't play that. And they're like, why? And I'm like, look, all I want is for you guys to cooperate. I wanted this officer's name a long time ago, because what he did, again, this officer blinds me in the middle of the night and lies about who he is. That's bad on all your officers. There's no excuse for it. I did the official complaint, heard nothing back. All I want to know is his name so that I can pull up another information request to see his disciplinary record, and that if he does something else in the future that other rights activists are aware, watch this guy. We're not going to, dox or do things like that, but we're going to watch, and we're going to make sure if there are any other complaints about this officer that the public knows about it, that the chief knows about it, and that things like that happen. And I'm going to give you an example. Misty Floyd with the San Antonio Police Department. 4 separate excessive force lawsuits. Never found to have done anything wrong. You know what? Okay, fine. Rights activists, we all know her name. Why? Because we know. Watch this officer. I spoke with her about a year and a half ago. Completely different thing. But as you know, if I'm talking to this officer and you approach, he's going to give you a signal saying everything's okay. Talking to another officer, I see her approaching, and I go, shit, it's Misty Floyd. I'm looking at the other officer going, give her the sign, dude, give her the sign. I don't want to get beat because she thinks I'm out here, especially at that time I was doing gun rights activity. I wasn't armed, but I was going to each police department over the unlawful signs that they had on their doors. I got all those removed. But again, where I'm saying that, as a rights activist, this is where I come from. When I say, hey, we know bad officers exist. We know how hard it is to get rid of bad officers. But bad officers are the worst thing possible for good officers. And when we see all the resistance just to giving the name of an officer, you guys know I can't file a quote-unquote official report without the officer's name. Why does it take 10 months to get an officer's name? Oh, well, you can file this report here, sign this affidavit saying we'll throw you in jail if you perjure yourself. I don't have to perjure myself. It's all on audio. It's all on recording. You see what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm not perjuring myself. I know better than that. Just like right here. I'm gonna put this live feed away. After I do, I'm gonna show you the evidence about the lady lying, what she said, and again, why your officers came out there, did what they did. I get it. That's what they think they're doing. But for them to approach me afterwards, when I went back on live stream, come up and tell me they're gonna arrest me for being on a public sidewalk off of your property, that's out of line for them. They were wrong. And then they tell me, we can't help you because you refused to identify yourself. Wrong. All they had to do was take that piece of paper from my hand, and they refused to do it, and they threatened to arrest me if I tried to give it to them. That's ridiculous. Give us your name. My name's on the paper. You know, how does that make sense to anybody when an officer says, you need to give us your name? And I don't actually need to give my name to file that. I can file that anonymously. There's nothing that requires me to put my name on that paperwork, but I do. I have nothing to hide. But your officers then threatening to arrest me and then coming out to the public sidewalk and trying to intimidate me. And when they do that, I start telling them the F word. Of course, they're like, oh, now we got to do something to this guy. Now you have to leave. And I'm like, you can't make me leave the sidewalk. And you know what? I'm sorry, but if your officer doesn't like being cussed at, they shouldn't stand around a guy on a public sidewalk who's filming, violating his rights, and refusing to do their job by taking an open records request. So again, I need to shut down my live stream because I'm getting angry. My viewers don't need to see that. This is Officer Flores. He's been professional. Officer Cox, thank you for providing backup and being professional as well. Again, it's car 1703 and 1603. This is San Antonio ISD. Guys, I'm going to shut down my live stream because I have to provide them some other information. Yeah, I know, all you guys go bootlicker. No, I have no problem with the police knowing my name. It's on the information report. I agreed to show it to them. So that's what I'm going to be doing.